Alright, welcome back to the fight before Christmas. Let's see if we can do some proper introductions this time around. It's the round of 8, there's $4,000 on the line, and each of these guys at this point has qualified for at least $50 in that small slice of that pie. Spawning here though in the top left corner of the map, playing for Samsung Galaxy, it's gonna be the blue Zerg player, Solar.
The bottom right as the red Kronos player, it's Lilbow.
Did you see, by the way, sorry, this is a little off topic, but did you see who recently joined Samsung Galaxy?
Oh, I know, yeah? I'm so excited.
For those who don't know what we're nerding out about, Journey was recently announced as a addition to the team.
It would have been, like, cool if he had got, I guess, A, gotten what he wanted, because he didn't want to go back to a Kespa team.
Yeah.
That's why he left in the first place. And B, if he was forced to go back to a Kespa team, he should have gone back to SKT. Damn it.
I don't know how I feel about that though, because if you went back to SKT, you very well have just been the punching bag sparring partner again. Whereas on Samsung Galaxy, you may actually get a shot to play. You know, reality isn't there, right? So takes over that role. I
don't actually know the lineup for them anymore.
Ah, okay. Well, we know the players that matter most to us. We got Stork, we got Solar, we got Armani, Emotion, and Journey. That's 5. That sounds like a perfect 5 for a team league of sorts, if you know any.
Oh, really? There's no one.
There's probably more, and I just don't know off the top of my head. But those are the guys we actually see and cast on the regular. Those are the guys I love from Samsung Galaxy. But to talk about that last game really quick, because we had a bit of a hiccup getting to game number 2, folks. If you just joined us, Lilbow had a very strong all-in against Solar. Now, it was on Overgrowth, and there's not a lot of maps where you can abuse that third the same way you can on Overgrowth. Overgrowth just has this really attractive third base, force fields, gateways. I mean, we've seen it happen before, and it's definitely not the first time Solar's ever lost to that.
Well, I guess it's too bad he wasn't able to pounce on Lilbow's attack as soon as it happened. You know, there was some delicate, like, waiting and posturing. And then there was that huge warp into Zealots.
Yes.
And I feel like those Zealots really, like, killed Solar's plan to, you know, actually win that game, which was to rely a lot on the Lings to come from a, you know, a back attack. But
yeah, I mean, that is a thing where we classically see more Stalkers warped in, maybe a couple more Sentries. You don't actually see Zealots coming on that particular warp in. So, I mean, if nothing else, like, that spoke to me, really good decision-making out of Lilbow. Not just kind of going full Protoss, warping all the strongest units possible, but warping all the best units possible.
Yeah. So surprised that Lilbow takes the first game, even if it was like, you know, just like, heh, Protoss all in. Because gateway all ins, I mean, they're usually not the most powerful. If they're scouted, they usually react to you rather well. I really think that, yeah, Lilbow, just like posturing and choice of units, which is really good. And the force fields are semi-feasible on Overgrowth with that hatchery. It is obnoxious if you let them get to that point.
I need to jump on this because of my notoriety and whatnot lately. Feasible?
What?
Did you mean viable?
Did it even use the word feasible?
You said feasible, so I'm thinking like you take a visa and charge the credit to the Zealots. I mean, I don't know.
I probably meant feasible, but I can't even remember what I said.
Yo, you probably went viable and feasible the same way I mix up words in my head, so there you go. Sorry, you've been giving me so much crap.
The segue, what? You said like, oh, I know where you said the notoriety thing. Okay, you have to be clearer because you actually have notoriety.
I've also been messing up a lot of other words lately.
Correctly that time.
Well, to talk a little bit about this game, guys, and take less shots at one another, third base was thrown down. It wasn't before a pool, but Solar's still not playing with that gas just yet. There we go, the first 2 guys are finally being taken. But healthy amount of Lings are coming out of this, and what I really enjoy is the fact that, well, he snuck a couple Lings in for now, and these did get that awesome scout last time. He does have at least 2 Overlords positioned, and the second one in, I'd say a less than average spot. Normally the Overlord's hidden up here rather than to the south. That's
true. I don't know if Lilbow scouted that it was over there, because, you know, that is the case. Like, maybe he puts all of his tech bones off to the left, and so it's just like, well, I see you. And Lilbow's like, oh, shit.
Do the thing where you like point at your eyes and point at his eyes, like, I got my eyes on you.
Yeah, exactly. Basically something like that. But if he did notice that the Overlord went in that way, then obviously he's not going to do that. He doesn't have any Stalkers in position to cut, you know, the Overlords off, though, so it looks like he's not planning on doing anything like a, I don't know, 7 gateways quite yet. Otherwise, you would hope that they would have the Stalker there. But Militia Corps comes and gets rid of this Overlord at least. Is it gonna die? Is it gonna die? Is it gonna die?
No. We talk a lot this I'd say a lot more on Deadwing than other maps, but ooh, nice catch on the Stalker out of Solar. I got a little bit greedy going with the Overlord. But the geysers being is part of the wall off. I mean, it's less buildings you need to build technically, I guess, go from wall to wall. It's the same wall off that you want in general, but so as we can see, a lot less space to work with behind this.
But you know that Terran don't actually wall this one off.
No, but I'm just saying it's interesting because it's not just Terran. Like, we see now Protoss also using the geyser as a big part of the wall.
Haven't Protoss always done this like this, though?
I'd
like
say
the
about
diagonal
half
gateway
the time, if
on
that,
King's
like
Age
less than that.
I don't know, I think it's different circumstances. They can't even fit a supply depot next to that gas geyser.
Well, anyways, the point I was going to bring up following this is like, we got the new map pool coming up sometime soon, right, for 2015. I would definitely love to see if there was something where the map makers were taking stuff like this into consideration, where the geyser actually becomes a large part of the wall. Maybe instead of sitting next to the mineral line, it goes over here or something. I don't know.
There's 7 gateways. This is a fake third. However, Solar just morphed that Overlord into an Overseer, and he will scout it all again.
All right, so he sees 5 gates. He doesn't need to go further than that. In fact, he puts Changeling in, now sees all 7. So definitely the same, very similar attack as last time. I'd say the big difference though is Solar's already pouncing on this, whereas before he was kind of awkwardly out of position, had to remove those lings, put him behind, and this time for Lilbow, I mean, he's got the rocks to chew through, he's got so much more he's going to have to deal with, and he doesn't, again, have the advantage of the way that third lays out. But
he does have, again, like, abusable force fields. You know, like, I mean, there's a Roach War in there. Oh, yeah, the Burrow, I think, is the biggest part. The biggest difference is that Burrow's going to be here. Now, Lilbow is the guy that went for a blink all in, and then he proxied a Robo and actually won that game. I don't know if that's going to happen again.
Yeah, if you guys missed it, Lilbow actually had possibly some of the cooler series leading into the round of 8. I would highly recommend them.
I really want him to force field off, like, the Roaches and kill the Roach Warren. Oh, yeah, that doesn't happen. Never mind then.
Well, some good shots are going off, but the problem is he's really just shooting away at the Stalker. It's not the important units like the Sentries. Burrow's just so close to finishing. He would have saved those Roaches otherwise. Spinecore is going to try to hold on, but it's not enough transfuses. Lilbow doesn't have that overwhelming army, but it still might just be enough. These force fields are being so abusive. Time Warp goes down near the ramp, the Mothership Core lives, and the Sentries still have energy for plenty more. But the benefit is, we did have Burrow complete, so these Roaches won't necessarily die to force fields.
Yep. A couple more go down. I mean, there's very good force fields. Like, again, really abusable, but the Burrows really... It's not making them useless. As you see, you got a Roach Warren. Solar has to rebuild that, and he's going to get the hatchery. Oh, he's running out of force fields? Not quite.
He's not burrowing anymore, though. The Burrow Micro's giving up. He's just trying to get some more shots off with the Roaches. There we go. Burrows once again. The hatchery's getting really low. Almost a transfuse on this Queen. Not going to be able to save that base. Does still have that third, though, so not out of this game by any means. But that was an attack that was effective.
Yeah, very nicely played by Lilbow to go... I don't know what the cancel is for. To go ahead and also force field off the retreat. I was worried he wouldn't have enough force field to do that, and of course he's never recalls once the record died. That could have been not worth it had the entire army died, of course.
Yeah, I really liked actually maintaining the Sentries. Even if you had to sacrifice a couple Stalkers to sit in that ramp instead of force fields, maintaining the Sentries was a pretty big deal. Double Robo to follow this up, though. Like, whoa. Immortal Protection going to be out the wazoo to deal with those Roaches initially, and that's great, but of course he's going to have to predict that Solar's going to predict this, you know, a little bit I know that he knows scenario, so it's not like it's going to be too difficult to get double Colossus production afterwards, but everything Lilbow's doing is off of 2 bases, is without upgrades, and is definitely going to be an all-in. Yeah,
exactly. It's like, it's got to be an all-in by now, right? He actually has enough money, even now as he warps in, to build a... Well, now he doesn't. To build a Nexus, and he decided not to. I mean, double Robo Immortal. I think I've seen this one other time. It does sound a little familiar. But with the Hydras out, and there are going to be a lot of Hydras, already 8 on the way. Lilbow still has to go across the map with this force. It's all going to actually depend on the force fields.
I mean, the thing is, the Immortals, they've got the damage for sure. They can... Ooh, actually, he's going to have to kill a Pylon. Neither are preferable to kill here. Anyways, he's going to have to... definitely make good use of the Immortals. I think one thing we did see, and I praised him a little bit for that last game, is that whole position micro. I imagine the same amount of control is going to be applied to the Immortals, because if he just kind of leaves them on A move and they shoot Zerglings instead of, say, the Roaches, then the Hydras will overwhelm at the end, and the Immortals have essentially wasted a lot of shots. Whereas if he tears through those Roaches, who cares about the Zerglings? The Force Fields will keep those back, and then he'll have a full army to fight those Hydras. I mean, Solar is making the right units to deal with this, and both of them are kind of techless right now, but when it comes down to the actual engagement, Solar's going to have range, he's going to have +1. He's actually not going to kill the Pylons because he goes with the Prism instead. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. He did mind to get an observer also. Kind of forgot they needed one, so glad he remembered.
Yeah, the burrow tech revealed. The Zergling goes down, but it's going to see the move out. There's no overlords here, but the Zergling sees what's going on. A couple of burrowed roaches going to try and sneak in. There are walls, and I don't know why you can't burrow underneath pylons in this game, but you can't. They clearly float above the ground and don't even touch it.
Why can you burrow underneath, like, raised supply depots when they're lowered? They go into the ground.
I don't know, man. You're blowing my mind right now.
Doesn't make any sense. Well, Lilbow's going to try this attack path again. I mean, the force fields are good here, but yes. I don't know about going up to a concave, and neither does he, so he does change position.
I love how scrappy this is, though. It's not that they're not planning for macro, but they're not allowing each other to. Lilbow having forced out this many units forces Solar to make an equivalent amount, if not more. He can't sit back and tech. He can't sit back and just go to Swarm House. And again, with what is the fear of this this army? If he could just snipe off that observer, he could save so much from these force fields. But even if the roaches get caught, they can burrow, they can retreat, and he takes a good start to this fight. Lilbow, a lot of units, but fighting on two different fronts.
Roaches in the main are being dealt with, kind of. He keeps on warping his elves, and he has an observer to catch their burrow tactics.
Yeah, this is actually pretty good, because this means now his mineral line's not in any danger. You just ignore it and start focusing on the other side of the field. Sentries are a little bit close to the force fields here, but still making sure to maintain maximum distance. The Immortals really haven't gotten to shoot that much, it looks like. I don't think they have too many kills, 8 in one, 9 in the other. But yeah, the Hydra count is starting to go down. If he can't break this before he loses the Hydras, Solar's not going to have a chance to hold on to this game.
Lilbow is almost, actually he's complete out of sentries. That last one goes down. The Immortal is not that helpful against what is mostly a Hydra army.
Yeah, Lings might be better than Roaches at this point, too.
I think
in fact, yeah, he's
yeah. Good call. Solar also has an upgrade lead. Of course, Lilbow completely, I mean, like, basically techless. Immortal's not even that high of a tech. A couple more sentries go in here. He could run up the ramp. I mean, he has 3 force fields. That would be pretty ballsy.
Yeah. Well, the time work goes down. He's definitely going to try and catch these. We don't see a lot of kiting coming out of Solar, which does shock me a little bit, but he's dealt with the Zealots. Now there's no fluff for this army. Drones are pulled from the north side, and actually, drones are pretty good against the Immortals and Stalkers. It's the Zealots they fear the most, so does actually push this back, and Solar is just barely making this happen. I think he's got the momentum. There's only 3 Immortals left at this point, and they're not going to be that good against the Hydralists. In fact, Solar recognizes this, stutters forward, he pounces, good game's going to be called, and Solar ties up the series 1-1. That did look a little spooky.